Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Okay, so moving on to you, David. You wanted to discuss Google's duplicate content or duplicate listings.
Sort of completely unheralded, except for the herald in the right half of your screen here, Mike Blumenthal, a couple weeks ago, or whatever half of the screen he's on for you. A couple weeks ago, Mike published the Monday newsletter, which is an all Google edition from us, and highlighted the fact that there is now a form that you can fill out in the Google Business Profile support forums to attempt to remove or merge duplicate listings. And I was flabbergasted. I thought maybe the calendar had reverted back to April 1st because this is a feature we've been asking for 15 years since Google's had a product team involved with listings. So I guess never say never, but I'm very excited to try it out. I have not had a chance to yet, but in combination with WhiteSpark's product, which allows you to very easily surface duplicates in Google Maps, given a business name or phone number, I think it could be a really awesome tool in an agency toolbox, regardless of the size of business you serve. I just working in the industries that I do as a consultant, particularly acute problems in practice practitioner situations, and especially for enterprise businesses with practices and practitioners. So I'm very, very excited to try this out. Mike, you mentioned in the sort of hot take bullet points that this might be related to some of the sort of transparency regulations introduced in Europe, the amazing meaningless acronyms DSA and P2B. So we'll see the extent to which Google actually follows through, or if this is, as you call it, customer support theater, which I wouldn't put past Google, but at least is a pretty exciting thing to try out. And again, given the combination of tools that are out there from suppliers like WhiteSpark, I'm sure there are other duplicate finders as well. This could be a really just a massive benefit to local SEO practitioners around the globe.
So a couple questions for you, David. Do you see, I've been dealing with duplicates a little more since I'm in the forum for the last year, and I see certain types of duplicates that have been traditionally very hard to get rid of. For example, you have an SAB with a phone number and a website, and then somehow like the IRS or someplace Google gets the address data for that SAB. It was impossible for those to merge without extraordinary Google support.
Right.
What types of issues what do you think causes the duplicates in healthcare? What kind of duplicates do you see?
I don't know. Certainly on the practitioner front, they must be getting a feed from insurance carriers or even public databases with NPI numbers. And in many cases, the name of the practitioner is just not close enough to what the actual like public-facing name of the practitioner. Exactly, right.
They reverse that stuff, or they have all the letters after it doesn't.
Or correct, or the address on their certificate of whatever is sort of the parent address, and the clinic they practice at is far-flung or in a different building or whatever.
And many doctors practice at multiple clinics, so they may be associated with multiple addresses.
Right. And they have, but they also have licensing things that Google uses. They have IRS stuff that Google uses. So Google sources this from a lot of places. And it's always this issue. If it's too different, it has been hard to get them merged. And it'll be interesting to see whether Google is bringing either better AI or better human intelligence to this problem now that they're actually admitted it's a problem and have provided a resolution.
And it doesn't happen with just providers, though. It also happens with clinics and practice locations in any service category where, again, it's relatively the same issue. If the name from a data, and I'm not singling these guys out, but if the name from Info Group has been truncated to something like SDCS, when the full name of the business is something services, like in many cases that will show up as a duplicate that is just very hard to get rid of.
So let me interject something for people that may not be SEOs or longtime followers of this debate. what is the fundamental problem with duplicate listings, just for anybody who doesn't understand?
You don't know when they're going. From my standpoint, you don't know when they're going to show up for a brand search, and so you don't know what to be monitoring for reviews. You don't know potentially if the information is wrong, if customers are being directed to the wrong spot. Certainly, from a listing equity standpoint, you want to make sure that you're sort of consolidating things to make sure all reviews are going to the same spot, that you're able to track all engagements with that profile. So it's more a question of, potentially misleading consumers, even though we as practitioners aren't at fault. It's really a Google problem, Google misleading practitioners, but the consumer obviously doesn't understand that. They feel Google's infallible. So that's the first problem. And then, like I said, the second problem is just the ability to sort of track and understand the engagement with those profiles.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what's amazing to me is every time I look, there's a new forum for a new problem that has existed for years. So clearly, Google understood these problems and just never wanted to implement.
Well, they were never motivated to. They were never motivated to do it, and I think they're compelled by the European rules now to do. It's clearly this DSA and the DMA that are pushing them to do these things. I mean, I think it's without question that's what's going on.
Right. And it makes it a whole lot easier. You start there, and then if there's a problem, you escalate it to the forum or whatever, and you can actually get a human to look at it. But so far in the forums, when I've sent people to that forum, in most cases, the outcomes have been positive on their behalf. So it appears that Google is actually directing these forums to the right people internally to get them resolved, which is an issue because low-level support at Google is quite lame. And they can't do much, so it requires a little higher bit of moxie there. I would love to hear from you how it goes. If you would,
I will be trying it in the coming week. I can't really say, but in the coming 2-week stretch, I will certainly be trying it.
Just keep me in the loop, would you?
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.